Let's now talk about clashes at Afghanistan-Pakistan border. On February 20th, Pakistan forces fired tear gas at hundreds of labourers at Chaman border crossing. According to reports, several protesters were also arrested by the Pakistani forces. This led to calls for shutdown strike and blockade of Chaman-Quetta international highway. Chaman is the second most important crossing for travellers and goods between Pakistan and landlocked Afghanistan. A report. A sit-in protest has been going on at the Pak-Afghan border for 4 months. Thousands of protesters have been staging demonstrations, sit-ins and road blockades near the Chaman border crossing since October against government's strict visa policy. The protests stemmed from opposition to the newly implemented one-document requirement for travel by the Pakistan's caretaker government, which made it mandatory for all those who pass through to have a valid passport. Thousands of local tribesmen and traders decided to set up a protest camp in Chaman after Balochistan's provincial administration started implementing the new visa and passport policy. The development followed a deportation drive against unregistered foreigners, mostly Afghans. On February 20th this week, Pakistan's border forces fired tear gas at hundreds of labourers at Chaman border crossing. According to reports, several protesters were also arrested by the Pakistani forces. This led to calls for shutdown strike and blockade of Chaman-Quetta international highway. Chaman is the second most important crossing for travellers and goods between Pakistan and landlocked Afghanistan.
Border دی پاسپورت نه منو ستنګ راتګ غواړو څلور میاشتې نه شپې کېږي که څوک په قرآن کې د وړو سکې لیدلې ده دا حالات مجبور یې په خدای که نه کور ته غوړې ستا نه وړه ستا دی پاسپورت منو نن د مجبورۍ ګرده راوتلي.
People have been protesting for visa-free trade and their basic rights in Chaman for several days. Instead of listening to demands, Pak forces are inciting the citizens to revolt by arresting and torturing them.
مجدار پداري څلور میاشتې له شپې کېږي چې دروازه بنده ده د ماښام وچ وړه نشته ورور 15,000 د یوه څپور که 10,000 د بله څپور که اوس اخر وایي دې ته درولي کوچنیانو ته ولا د شیدو پر ځای اوبه ورکوو اوس وچ کلک مجبور یې ناست یو دا دروازه دې رایله کړي ورور موږ د هېڅ نه خلاف.
The contentious border between Pakistan and Afghanistan remains a site of major conflict. In 2021, the Pakistani army had clashed with Afghan civilians protesting on the Chaman border against the closure of the border area by the Taliban. Taliban announced the closure of the border after Islamabad had ended visa-free travel for Afghans. Since 1949, a series of occasional armed skirmishes and firefights have occurred along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border between the Afghan armed forces and the Pakistan armed forces.